our proposition is that the season of Advent is, yes, liturgical first and foremost, a preparation for Christmas, but also it's a great opportunity for engaging people.
Absolutely.
Right? Welcome to Magnified Ministry Podcast, the podcast dedicated to inspiring, encouraging, and equipping parish leaders to build thriving missionary communities in today's rapidly changing world. This is the Magnified Ministry Podcast. Welcome back to the Magnified Ministry Podcast Advent Special.
Advent Special movement from Welcome to Wonder, Marco.
That's right.
What's your favorite memory of Christmas?
Oh my goodness, my favorite memory of Christmas. I'll go to my earliest.
Yeah.
Just because it's hard to kind of pick a favorite.
Yeah.
So when I lived in Mexico, as you know, I grew up there. We would do posadas, right?
Yes.
So a posada is a very big thing in Mexico. It's like a big party, but you do different things that are just very culturally Mexican. One of them is that you go around and kind of like Joseph and Mary, you knock on different houses and you sing, and then they sing back to you. They tell you go to the next house, and it's kind of like a fun little journey. And then when they finally open the door, you go in and you have food and candies and all that stuff. And I'll never forget the first time we did this that I remember. I can vividly remember we had like a big piñata, and it was those piñatas with the 7 cones, those piñatas. And I was so excited. I'm like, oh, it's going to be so much candy. And you know what they had in that piñata? Fruit.
Good.
And that's when I realized that Mexicans put fruit in piñatas that are not for their birthday. I was not happy.
You were not overly excited about that one.
No. But I mean, kids would get hit with sticks back in the day. And then some of the piñatas were made not with a paper mache, but with ceramic on the inside. So those were also dangerous.
Wow.
Hey,
you guys took a lot of risks in the 90s.
In the 90s in Mexico, anything went.
Wow.
Everything. So
well,
what about you? What about you?
We didn't do that because it was too freezing. But something that we did, we still do in Poland, is the season after Christmas, we have children dress up as different figures from the Christmas pageant. You can be wise men or donkeys or shepherds, and you go from home to home and you sing Christmas carols and to their families, and then they would give you like candy or fruit or something. Yeah, but it's a Catholic version of trick-or-treating. And it was a great experience. We always done it, and as a child you were always afraid because you somebody's dressed as a devil and they're mischievous and unkind, and so you as a child hide behind your grandma worrying about the devil coming into the house. But it was just a great memory. It's just so joyful. So it was a fun thing to do.
So I think that was a nice start in just kind of remembering some of the things that we remember. But we wanted to talk about, on this episode, right, in this journey in Advent, as we kind of frame up the idea from welcoming to wonder. We talked a little bit about welcoming and why it's important to think about the season.
And the fact that 74% of people, adults, want to grow more spiritually, and 44 feel more open.
And I think that's what our proposition is, that the season of Advent is, yes, liturgical first and foremost, a preparation for Christmas, but also it's a great opportunity for engaging people.
Absolutely.
Right? And so we talked about the importance of being welcoming and being intentional. We teed up a couple of things that we have done in the parish and have seen other parishes do that can be very effective. And then we're going to talk about wonder and kind of drawing people closer to the wonder of God. But in this episode, we want to dive into some of the specific things that we have seen be very effective in engaging both people in the church and parishioners, but also people that really aren't engaged in the church life as much. And we wanted to talk about those, right? We wanted to talk about how to think about engaging families and children during this time. We wanted to think about how to engage men and women in their own in particular way. And then we also wanted to talk about this idea of the power of healing and healing and reconciliation during this time. So which of the three should we begin with?
Well, I think that's a great framework. Thank you. I find that the mistakes sometimes we are making or are tempted to make is to present Christmas and Advent as another thing to do. And I think people are already exhausted as it is. So I think it's not about adding, it's about reframing what we already do and reframing it in a way that speaks to pre-Christian culture or post-Christian culture, right? Because let's start with reconciliation, right? So if you say, well, we'll offer a reconciliation service, I think
confession service.
You have like three different groups of people, right?
Yep.
The older people that will come, they always come to everything. Then you have the middle group who absolutely will ignore it because they think they can just go straight to God, right? All this bad teaching. And then you will have the young adults who are struggling to see the connection, right, between healing and reconciliation, and they want to be judged. And so how do you take something like that? And what we've done here at St. Clement, again, it's not perfect, but this is what we do, is we kind of bundle it into the season of healing and reconciliation. And so what we do is we actually eliminate a lot of words, because what we find is no matter where you go for reconciliation services, there's just a lot of talking. And I think it's great that we talk, but why don't we just let Jesus talk to people's hearts? And people are just exhausted because everybody's talking this season. So what we've done at Clement is we basically just move away from the talking. And so we begin the season with just a very nice chant music that gets people quiet down. And then we say, we just frame it, we say, we all need healing. We all need healing. We all need to be reconciled with God, with ourselves, with others. We have this incredible gift of sacraments to help us with that. And so this time together, this hour or so together, is an invitation to explore the grace of God, is to allow ourselves to just be replenished, is to be strengthened, is to be healed, is to be encouraged. And so we just frame it and we say, listen, this is just a time for you to sit and listen to music and join some of the Taizé chants and just allow yourself to lift up your heart. And that will be just most fitting to you.
Yep.
For some others, this might be a turning to God and saying, I really need some healing here. I really am wounded. And you will come forward to receive the sacrament of healing, of anointing of the sick. And for others, this will be an opportunity for sacrament of reconciliation, of saying, I really am needing God's mercy and compassion. And for some might be all, for some might be some, for some will be prayer teams, right? We have prayer teams.
Yep.
And so we have people throughout the church saying, we just want somebody to pray with us and for us, because we don't even know how to pray. And so we do that, and it's just, we have literally hundreds of people show up for it. And it lasts hours because people don't rush. And not because we ask people to stay hours. You can stay 15 minutes and leave. Right. But people stay for a long time. We start at 7. We don't finish until like 9:30.
Right.
Because I think people are just really want to be surrounded by beauty, by candlelight, by beautiful music, and just quiet.
Yep. Well, and I think that's this idea of a healing and reconciliation service, or you can come up with a catchier name than that.
So you don't like our name.
No. I'm saying you can.
Thanks, Marco.
No, you said
not to our marketing team. Marco did not like your title.
It's very descriptive. Healing and reconciliation service, right? I'm saying if you want to.
So do you like it now?
Yeah, it's a great, very fact-based name. I'm saying if you want to come up with a catchy name for it, go for it. But what I was gonna say is, you're taking something that's traditionally not thought of as an Advent thing, right? It's much more thought of as a Lenten thing. And you're bringing it to a season, and it really in Lent, it's more like reconciliation, right? I think you take that idea of that grace-filled moment and that moment to reflect and pause and kind of get yourself right with God, if you will. Bring it into Advent. That's one kind of new thing. Plus, you're adding the layer of healing and the framing of, hey, this is like a terrible wording, but a bundled way to bring all of these things together. Right? It's like
2 in 1,
2 in 1, 3 in 1, right? But I think ultimately what we're doing
Come
through
get your
that is
Christmas special at
it's
St.
like the
Clement.
Happy Meal, Terrible. That's not what we're saying. Please, nobody think that this is a commercial.
Listen, everybody's Advent. We
Gosh.
do have to have some fun.
I know. But
Too much
this is
candy.
serious. This is
Too
serious.
much Christmas candy.
What I'm trying to say is that
Yeah.
you're creating the space
Yeah.
for God to work through the Holy Spirit in
Uh-huh.
whatever way each individual needs
That's right.
in that particular moment. And what matters is that you're creating the space and you're framing it in the way of come and just be, right?
Exactly.
And I think in this world that, especially in the season of Christmas, it's so busy. We're so hurried. We're so overwhelmed and overstimulated with lights and colors and buying and parties and getting stuff that sometimes we just need to get away and unplug. And it's really hard to get away and unplug. And so you're creating an oasis, right? Of calm and stillness and just being as enough. And I think that's why I think this concept of healing and reconciliation, see, it's a catchy name after all, has been so effective in that season because people are longing for an opportunity to just be and to receive.
Exactly. And going with our theme of our podcast, right, of being a church in pre-Christian world, we all of us are exhausted during the season of Advent. And so I think when we frame it this season and when we frame this opportunity, this particular opportunity, we always do it by saying this is a time for you to actually be refreshed
and to receive.
And so it's not, we don't want anything from you.
Right.
We just want you to find strength and balance.
Yep.
And that takes us to something that we found really working in so many parishes across the Archdiocese here in Chicago. We are not the first ones to start it. We started about 5 years ago, and that is our Advent by candlelight. And it's only for women, and it's an opportunity for women to come together to simply experience community and beauty and accompaniment for one another, right? We know that women are the busiest people on the planet during the Advent Christmas season, getting stuff for children, preparing families. I mean, there's so much planning on the top of working and taking care of families. And so we want as a church, again, in this pre-Christian culture, to come side by side and say, we care deeply about women having an encounter with God, with beauty, with one another. And so it's a very simple service, right? We invite women of our community and we say, this is just for you. We don't want anything again from you. We just want you to experience the calmness of God's presence. We think when Jesus comes into the room, the atmosphere changes, and we want your hearts to be changed by his presence. And so basically we invite women. We have inspiring speaker just offering a reflection
and witness.
And then we have some witness of individual women, how God touched their hearts. Yep. And they don't have to be an extraordinary stories. God works in the ordinary stories. So the more ordinary, quite frankly, the better, I think. And then in between, we have some beautiful music and an opportunity for women to write and bring candles and now write a prayer for what God puts on their heart and put that prayer in a prayer basket. So then other women can select that toward the end of the evening and pray for that intention for the rest of the Advent season. So what that gives us an opportunity for women to simply be lifted up and say, we know you're exhausted. We know you're stretched. We as a church want to be a resting place, not another thing for you and your family to do, but a place which actually replenishes your spirit. And I think that's an easy thing for the church to do. And what a great gift to women of our communities to actually find that.
I don't have anything to add on that one. I mean, just having had an opportunity to serve at those, right? Because that's the only way I was able to attend prior Advent by candlelight, because it is exclusively for women, was to be a server, to be a helper. And I actually think, as men, it's important for us to have a posture of service towards the women in our parish, right? Because I think for far too long, as a church, we've put women to the side. And obviously, there's structures and pieces that I respect, and different roles that men and women have in the church. But sometimes we don't lift up the voices or don't create space for voices. And sometimes we as the men in the parish don't do enough to support women in their own ministry and in their own ways, right? And so I think it's important to find those ways to be there to celebrate, but also to be the ones that are serving, and
Absolutely.
so that everybody can enjoy. And I actually had a lot of fun being able to just watch and listen and see how God and the Holy Spirit were moving in a beautiful way, in a way that didn't necessarily touch me, because it's just a different spirituality in some ways, but to just be able to witness how God touched so many people's hearts was really beautiful. So I hope that at some point we'll do an Advent by candlelight for men, or something like that. But men are different in their spirituality, right? And we have to think about what is it that will speak to men, that will help them be nourished, to be fed, to feel like they connect in that season, right? So at some point, I'm sure we'll come up with something.
Yeah, absolutely. And the third thing is, again, engaging with children, right? And I think a lot of parishes do a lot of things to engage families and children. We have here something we call Breakfast with Santa. Again, speaking to...
No, it's a different name. It's not Breakfast with Santa. That's just a description. No, it's the St. Nicholas Bazaar. St. Nick's Bazaar, right?
Yeah, we changed it into Breakfast with Santa.
See, I'm so behind the marketing.
Good try, Marco. It used to be a bazaar, but
Yeah.
but we discovered that...
But this is important to talk about. Some
yeah,
of the insights that
we,
you
we
had.
just thought, like, why are we selling things again? Like, why are we like getting into this culture of buying more stuff? And sure, it's helpful. Some people would say, well, it's helpful because we're already here and we can buy a few more things. But we felt like we really wanted to focus on community, and the last 2 years we actually didn't sell anything. We basically just said, just come for breakfast with your family. You can take children's love pictures with Santa. So why would they go to the mall? Let them come to the parish hall. But then what we do is we actually have a lot of things linking how Santa prepares our hearts for the coming of Jesus, right? How St. Nicholas. And so we keep repeating the story of St. Nicholas, but we also help the kids. We capture, the imagination of children who are driven by, Santa, period, and move them into the imagination of Christmas, right? This shift to this wonder of Christ's coming. And so what we do is we have a lot of things at the tables that are age appropriate. Hallow Up actually has a special challenge for families and children for Advent, which is incredibly good. The parishes can use that. And basically it's just helping children to awaken and we talked about 2 episodes ago with your son Marco, awaken in them this desire and excitement around spiritual of this season, not only a physical, getting gifts and celebrating Santa, but celebrating Jesus, and yet using the images and the imagination of post-Christian world to draw you into the Christian presence.
Right. I mean, and I think, look, there's different philosophies when it comes to Santa Claus and some of that, right? Because you could go one route and say, we're just going to completely shut it out. There's no Santa allowed. He doesn't even show up, right? Or you can lean into it with intentionality, right?
Yeah.
Because there's no running away from Santa Claus and all of that is we're in this culture that we're surrounded by it, right? And so I think we're called to be in this world, not of this world, right? And so we should reclaim Santa Claus, right?
Exactly.
We shouldn't fall into this trap of commercialized Christmas. We should lean into the beauty of the origin stories of some of that, and point people to the fact that Saint Nicholas is a wonderful saint, a great bishop, and he had a heart for the poor, and he had a heart for children, and he wanted to bring joy. And so, yes, like, think about how you can use that to again point to Jesus, but also think about how you as a family can bring joy to those in need during this time, right? Because
that's
that's
brilliant.
also
Yeah.
important. That's very important. And that is an easy way for kids to stop thinking just about themselves and start thinking about others, right? And so are there ways to help people discover the truth, right? I mean,
Correct.
and everything points back to God, right? And even, I'll just share this little quip and then I think we got to close, but like, think about in the Latino and Mexican community, right? The Virgin of Guadalupe, it's December 12th, right? And the Feast of Guadalupe is such an important part in the popular religiosity of Mexican culture. Now, I've always struggled with it because a lot of people sometimes put much more emphasis on that than on Christmas, right? And I think that's the mistake that a lot of people can fall in, whether they are in the church or not in the church. Something else takes the place of Jesus. And guess what? Mary did not reappear, and her message and all of the apparitions has never been, look at me, I'm awesome, I have really cool clothes, and I'm on top of the world. She's like, go to him. She's always pointing to him. And why wouldn't we take a page from her book and use the things around us to point back to Jesus in this season?
It's a beauty of Mary. Well, thanks for joining us for episode 2. And next week, our last episode of this year. Can you imagine? We are taking a Christmas break and we'll be back with you in January. So join us next week for the final episode as we talk about shifting from welcome into wonder, and then we'll celebrate Christmas. God bless you all.
See you next week.